Hi there, you're listening to Unnatural Selection, the show where we talk about newsy type stuff and things. My name is Tom. Anytime,
My
fellas.
name is George.
And my name is Adam.
And with our powers combined, we are Unnatural Selection. You can follow us on the interwebs at the places that we're all at. Unnatural Show. You know the drill. If this is your first time here, what are you doing here? There's so many better ways to spend your time. How we doing, fellas?
That's that kind of enthusiasm that you've grown to know and expect from the Unnatural Selection Podcast, a comedy show about the news. That is
sometimes funny.
A show about the news that occasionally drifts into humour when all else fails.
Yeah.
We are nothing but consistent.
We are nothing, but consistent? ? Punctuation matters. So you'll notice that Tom brought in the show because we're recording on his rig because I have a long and painful story about trying to replace the central processing unit on my home rig, which I will not bore the listeners with, but needless to say, it went badly. You know when you're like, oh, I got to be careful how much thermal paste I'm going to put on because, I'm not going to touch the motherboard. I'm going to wear a static wristband because all of these terrible things might happen to your motherboard if you put something in wrong. All of the terrible things happened to me. They've happened. It's all done. Yeah. A new motherboard is on its way express from amazon.com.au. First one's free, Jeff.
I very much feel bad for sending you a slop 'em up sloppy steaks meme when you were saying I'm going to put the thermal paste on the CPU and then you were like, too much thermal paste, I fucked it. And I'm like, no.
Well, I don't think it was too much. I think that, yes, there was too much. There was lots of things that went wrong.
Yeah.
There was too much thermal paste, but also the old thermal paste got into all the nooks. I don't know if this is a technical term, nooks and crannies of the motherboard just really got up in it. Yeah. And now the motherboard is dead, not to be revived. No. So we're improvising. Yeah. But so Tom's doing the recording and the streaming today. So if it sounds a little bit different, that's probably why.
It's definitely a changing factor, certainly.
Yeah.
That and the fact that Tom led the show in as well, which threw our rhythm out completely.
Yeah, I was like, do I go? Does Adam go? How do we do this? It's great. It's tight. It was tight. We're professionals 15 years in. Zoran Mamdani is a professional because he has just won the New York City mayoral race in a historic victory for progressives.
Yeah.
So we've sort of touched briefly on Zoran Mamdani and the mayoral race in New York, just because it's become sort of like international news. So if I think it was maybe 3 or 4 months ago, he sort of popped up onto my radar in like vertical video format. So walking across the city and chatting to New Yorkers, and I was like, man, this guy has gone properly viral because if a guy in Melbourne, Australia, is getting these videos, they are either A, extremely poorly targeted, or B, extremely viral. And it turns out it was the latter, and he has transitioned that kind of, not just his approach to politics and public rhetoric into but also his policy standpoint and his standpoints and how he not just the social media elements, but it's really shown that he's been a pretty exceptional communicator, unlike me trying to stumble and bumble through that fucking sentence. His brand of politics has obviously gone over well with New York City voters who
extremely
voted down Curtis Sliwa. He's a Republican. And also Andrew Cuomo.
Red beret wearing, great value for a soundbite. He started the Guardian
Angels.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the most New York man I've ever seen, and that's saying a lot because I watch a lot of movies. But
aggressively New York.
Yeah.
Aggressively New York.
Did you guys know he was shot in the back of a taxi cab in the early 90s by the Gambino crime family? Because he mentioned
it once
whenever
or twice.
he could, at any opportunity.
And so, New York is an overwhelmingly Democratic sort of state, is unlikely to vote for Curtis Sliwa. The other option in the race was Andrew Cuomo, and he lost against Zoran Mamdani in the primaries and then came back again to challenge him in the general as a independent.
Yeah.
And it seems like some of the people who identified themselves as homosexuals during the pandemic, some of the love has been lost with Andrew Cuomo since then. Since I think it was 13 women coming out against him with credible accusations of sexual assault. And there was also a lot of stories in the aftermath of the pandemic about how he mishandled, sort of
He's the
the
previous
isolation
mayor, right?
He's the previous
situation. No, he
governor.
was the governor.
Yeah.
Governor of the state of New York.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and how he mishandled the pandemic with regard to aged care and a lot of, elderly people dying during COVID that probably didn't need to. And so it gave to the rise, killing nannies and slapping fannies, was the term that someone came up with online for Cuomo. So yeah, so some of the enthusiasm for Cuomo has cooled in recent months, and Zoran, as an exceptional communicator, has run away with it. He identifies himself as a democratic socialist, and he's a Muslim, and so you can imagine that everyone was just super chill about all that, and definitely didn't descend into the depths of horrendous racism. Oh wait, it is America. And so there were lots of Twin Towers memes and all sorts of horrendous racist shit.
The word jihad was never once used by any opposition to slander this candidate. No, not once. They're above that.
No, not once. Yeah, certainly. When they go low, we go much, much, much lower.
And it's been fantastic to see.
There was a million. Yeah.
Sorry, were we going over each other?
No, I was just going to say there was a million voters that came out, and
wow.
It was like a record for recent times in New York City, considering that their entire population's only like 8 million people or something like that. It's like the biggest turnout for a mayoral election in many decades. So, and he's won handily with like a 9-point, margin over Cuomo, which is exceptional considering how much big money Cuomo had behind him, and like big tech donors and things like that as well. Like they threw a lot of fucking money behind him.
It's almost like a young left-wing candidate offering extremely left-wing policies to a left-wing voter base succeeded.
A lot of people talk about his social media strategy, but I think it's also his policies. A big focus on affordability and talking about
rent
the
freezes.
cost of living with, and he had specific addressable policy positions that he kept repeating over and over again, to the extent to which me as a person, a politically interested person nonetheless, but like just a regular guy in Melbourne, Australia, knows his policy platform: free and fast buses, rent freezes, public grocery utilities that are, really cost competitive. Like, he ran on a campaign of affordability. He got, a lot of support from, big, really big popular people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, obviously, who has a district in New York. And so he's gone in the space of a year ago, being just like a random assemblyman in the New York legislature, to mayor of one of the largest cities in the country, which is pretty impressive. But it all goes to not just his communication style, but addressing people's material circumstances, like being a progressive, unabashedly progressive voice, and improving people's lives in ways that they can understand. Like that's what politics is supposed to be. But
here's a question.
For some reason, it's a revelation.
I mean, what I've struggled to really grasp of this sort of breathless coverage over the last week, because the coverage has been, if you're a Republican, that the communists are coming and the end times is near. If you're a Democrat, the news has been that the reckoning is coming. Republicans,
Muslim
beware.
Jesus has arrived. Yeah.
But we're talking about the mayor of one city in the United States.
Well, yes, but this has appeared in the context of several by-elections.
Significant was my question. Anyway, so why is this?
And the answer, I'll let you get your question out. The answer to that question is that it's come alongside a bunch of other, we're starting to get into like the early midterms season for America. So there was a gubernatorial race in New Jersey, which was won by a Democrat as well. there was Abigail Spanberger won against her opponent for the gubernatorial race in Virginia as well, which is kind of like a purple state. There were also a couple of there was utility board seats in Georgia, which was not on my radar at all until this week, but they were won as well. Obviously, Georgia can be very conservative, even though they elected Democrat senators last time round. And so, all of these races, the Republicans have been spending a lot of money to try and hang on to these seats, and they've failed to do so in every instance, almost, as far as I can tell. And the utility ones, that's keyed into price of people's electricity and things like that. So I think the progressives are really drawing strength from not sucking ass for once. And really, it seems like even though Trump's not on the ballot and isn't going to be on the ballot because he's term limited, this is his final term, no matter what he or multiple shirt wearing Steve Bannon might tell you. The Constitution specifically does not allow a person to be elected to president more than twice.
Yeah, but the Constitution doesn't allow a lot of things, and
sure, I know I'm the it's unconstitutional guy, but even the Supreme Court twisting themselves into fucking pretzels cannot misinterpret I think it's the 24th Amendment. It explicitly states you can't be president more than twice. That's it.
Unless the Republicans.
No, there's no unless.
The
there's no time to change the Constitution. Okay, you're not going to get a fucking constitutional amendment done in that time, right? And you certainly wouldn't get the majority of people on board with it. So, legally, there is no. Let me say it this way: legally, there is no way of Donald Trump being president for a third time. And any time that he mentions running for a third time for president, which he has done on occasion, people say, "Okay, great. Well, let's go to Obama out for a third run." If we're going to fucking break the rules, let's go.
That is kind of the saving grace of that, in that the precedent that him running for a third term or serving a third term sets means that anyone who's previously been president who's still alive could let's run Obama again. But then they could be like, well, then let's
Joe
run.
Biden's back, Jack.
Well, no, Joe Biden could come back anyway.
It's time for Joe to rise and shine.
But yeah, they could bring back fucking
more like Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton sitting there.
That's what I mean. Bill Clinton or George Bush. They could be like, let's run these people out again. Fuck. No, it's the consequences of my actions. But back on Mamdani.
But yeah, it's a rebuke to Trump, obviously, is the point that I'm making. And Democrats, because Abigail Spanberger, much more moderate than Zoran Mamdani, who's very much on the left of the political spectrum. So you run the candidates that you need in the districts that you need, but as a whole, it seems like Democrats are winning back some of the anti-Trump, sort of sentiment, and that's translating into actual election victory. So hopefully it's a good sign for the midterms coming up next year. We'll see.
I am just on Mamdani specifically. I couldn't help but think this week, because seeing all the stuff that he said, I haven't delved deeply into the policy platform as to exactly all the nitty gritty as to how he wants to do all the things he said. But he said things.
There's been some of the concern is as a mayor, you're not really probably able to do some of these things.
Yeah, he said
the support of the governor.
It's like he said stuff. He said stuff like taxing the rich, fucking arresting Netanyahu if he sets foot in New York soil, all these big sweeping changes, which is oh great, sounds amazing, 100%, totally on board. But Mamdani getting in, finally electing a mid-30s, not white, super progressive politician. This feels like when Wonder Woman was in the cinemas. Of where it's this has to go well or they'll never let us do this again. It has to deliver. It has to be 100% amazingly perfect, because if this bombs in any way, they'll use that as an excuse to just not nope, we tried it, we did it once, can't let us do that again. What, women-led superhero movies? Nope, one didn't work, can't do that ever again.
You're obviously talking about Wonder Woman 1, not Wonder Woman 1984.
No, yeah. No,
to be clear,
of course.
Which sucked.
Well, yeah, I didn't like the first one that much either, but we're not here to talk about that. But yeah, you see what I mean, though? It's kind of like this. If he doesn't achieve any of the things that the big sweeping, even rent freezes, all that sort of stuff, if through either his inaction or red tape or just the politics game preventing him, if he doesn't actually do any of the big things that has made him so popular and got him elected, fuck, they'll never let us do it again.
And historically,
it could definitely be disillusioning.
Known for changing people's lives necessarily.
Well, the rent-free stuff, they've definitely done that. The rent-free stuff has been done historically in New York. Like, that is a thing that he would probably have power to influence.
Yeah.
Some of the other stuff,
crime,
you would need
that's
Kathy.
kind of a big thing that, like...
Well, yeah, I mean, he has sort of
that was
moved...
Giuliani's thing, wasn't it? It was like the whole...
Yeah, Giuliani famously was, claimed credit for breaking up the mob and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely one of those things that, you could definitely see it backfiring on him if he's not able to deliver on these things that he said he would deliver, right? So it's you want him to succeed.
Yeah, 100%.
But as to the extent that he's able to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with Donald Trump literally threatening to like pull money out of the state if he's elected, saying that they're going to denationalize him and deport him, back to Uganda and all this sort of stuff, like really sort of heinous racist shit. If you've got a recalcitrant Fed, I mean, no matter who won, it was always going to be a nasty shit fight between New York and the Trump administration because it's a democratic city. But like, it's
the president
it's not going to be easy for him.
Yeah, the president wielding his power to fuck over the mayor
to personally fuck you. Yes.
Speaking of unconstitutional. Yeah, and I think there were some other aspects of the elections that happened. Like, it wasn't just New York mayoral that was happening that day. There was some other governorships I think around the country, where I think a few, I don't have the states in front of me. That would be the professional thing to do. But like elected their first like women as governors, or there was some so a few firsts.
I think that was New Jersey and Virginia as well. Yeah, I think that was the same ones.
So it seemed like it was a big progressive win all around that day. There was like it was a nice day in politics. Those don't happen often. It's nice.
Democrats are so used to just losing.
I just think this has been blown way. Like, people are saying that, it's the start of the turn of the tide. And I'm like, I don't know. Let's just hold our horses a little bit here. We're talking about 3 elections. New York's like always going to vote in a left-wing candidate. Like, I don't know. I just think this has been blown way.
But don't forget, there's Wall Street and there's other there are pretty conservative establishment sort of power bases in New York as a city. So I don't think it was taken for granted that a democratic socialist would win by any means.
Until he bought a fucking resort in Florida. Trump himself was a New York guy.
Yes. Yeah. It's kind of funny watching him turn on his own city, but.
Or his own city turning on him.
Yes, vice versa.
Yeah, I bet he loved that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's as you say, Adam, it's may or may not be indicative of the turning tide, but I think it's a positive data point.
Yeah. And hopefully people learn something.
I'm just desperate. I'm hungry for good data points. So just let me have this.
Yeah, hopefully the Democrats are learning something from it. Although you wouldn't know it, so I didn't put this in the rundown. But did you see the clip going around from Kamala Harris's interview with Jon Stewart?
I listened to the interview.
So you haven't seen the video? Because it's the video I
don't
feel
think
that
I saw the video, no.
No, there's so Jon Stewart was interviewing Kamala Harris, and the clip that I've seen, I'm not sure of the context of like what preceded it, but Kamala Harris kind of goes on a little just speech about saying that while she's not like, she wants to stress, I'm not for incrementalism, I'm not advocating incrementalism, but until we, being the Democrats, have a majority in the House and the Senate and the White House, I think incrementalism is is all that we can do. And you can just see the life leave Jon Stewart's eyes as he's like, you've learnt fucking nothing. Like, this is disappointing as hell. So to see people take the big swing on the guy who's like, tax the rich, like, fuck incrementalism, let's go balls to the wall, at least in my campaign messaging, is good. But yeah.
Well, the tax the rich thing is like, he goes, I want to increase our sales tax from 9% to 11% or something, which matches the socialist paradise of New Jersey next door to us. So it's like, it's not really, like it's not really the kind of radical change that you're sort of suggesting there. But yeah, he is certainly,
Damn it, George.
His verbiage about
Damn it, George. Don't you squash my hopes and dreams with facts and numbers? That's not what we keep you around for.
Sorry,
Sarah Ferguson also had an interview with Kamala Harris, and it didn't go particularly well.
Well, she's out hocking her book, and it's clearly there to kind of seed the ground for a potential run for president next time round, which I think, look, honestly, as a Democratic candidate, it'd be probably like her, Gavin Newsom, maybe who's the guy from Pennsylvania, Josh. Name escapes me now. The governor from Pennsylvania. I think she'd have a decent chance of making it. But I think the context of that clip in the interview that you were talking about, Tom, was more about, she was kind of just acknowledging the fact that like Democrats have no power per se. Like we don't hold the House, we don't hold the Senate, we don't have the judges. I think it was more just an acknowledgement of the reality of the situation, that Democrats really can't do all of that much right now. And to promise, to overpromise and underdeliver is also dangerous as well, which is what we were talking about before with Zoran, right?
Yeah, I suppose, but it's also like you got to actually inspire your base to actually come out.
People got to feel the
fight.
fight. Yes.
So you can't just be like, oh no, we'll just do Republican light. It's baby steps. Please vote us back in. Incremental.
Yeah. What do we want? Small improvements. When do we want them? Over a period of 10 to 15 years. Yeah, it's not a good rallying cry.
No. Yeah, really, really disappointing. Yeah, but I guess watch New York. Let's see whether it turns into like, a socialist utopia or like the John Carpenter, Snake Plissken Escape from New York hellscape that everyone's predicting it to be if you're on the right side of the spectrum. Speaking of people on the right side of the spectrum, Donald Trump. The government shutdown, I think he's achieved his goal. It's the longest shutdown ever. I think that'll make him happy. It's the longest government shutdown. Hooray. Well done. Congrats.
Breaking records.
Yeah.
Yay.
And as part of that, as I believe we've talked about a bit previously, SNAP, which is also kind of referred to as food stamps, has been taking a massive hit. Like, people have not been able to get fed as a result of this. And the Trump administration has said that they're going to send partial food aid benefits this month.
Yeah, so basically the way it works is SNAP is obviously part of the things that the government funds, right? And so what they've agreed to is sort of partial funding based out of, they've sort of moved some money around and said, hey, we'll give you partial credit for this month, and that'll all sort of keep you going. But it amounts to a reduction of like potentially half of what would otherwise be, right?
You can survive on half the amount
potentially,
you eat, right?
Who knows? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, food alongside shelter is generally kind of a non-negotiable. It's an inelastic demand. I think the economists would be the official term for it. So, you're really on the precipice of potentially like a real hunger crisis in the United. It's so absurd to say like the richest country in the world, is on the precipice of like a self-imposed fucking famine. But here we are. And who knows how long it's going to take for that money to start coming through. Who knows how long it's going to last. Next month, is there going to be anything? Is it just going to go to zero? Like, it's funny because, the Republicans are kind of the ones who are just happy to kill the hostage. They're Thelma and Louise. They're just like, yeah, we're happy to drive off the cliff. We don't care. Like, we would prefer that to negotiating with Democrats. So I wonder to the extent to which there are some people in the Democratic Party, even though the polling is positive for them, in terms of how they're handling the shutdown and who the public blames for the shutdown, even though it's overwhelmingly Trump, and there might be some people in the Democratic Party getting some jitters right now because, they care about people starving to death, whereas the Republicans clearly couldn't give two fucks.
Yep, that's
It's
the
concerning.
weakness you need to shed to succeed in politics. You need to not give a fuck if anybody
Yeah, Elon
dies.
was right. Elon was right. Empathy is the mind virus.
Yeah.
Uh,
And it's also just another example of, like, Trump will say one thing and then something else will happen, right? Because he was like, nah, you're not getting squat. All right, you are getting some. And then maybe next it'll be, fine, you get it because the shutdown ends. So it's all just crazy bullshit political theater that is gambling with people's lives. So that's fun.
I don't see an off ramp. I really actually don't see how the shutdown comes to a close because it seems like neither side is really engaged in negotiating or giving anything. So if the Republicans say no, we're not going to extend those healthcare subsidies, and we're now getting to the stage where those premiums that people are getting notices for the upgraded increased premiums for their health insurance for the year ahead.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, once those premiums have been raised, you're locked in for the year, right? So you're sort of getting to the stage now where it's like, even if they do reach an agreement on the Obamacare subsidies, people are going to be locked into more expensive plans anyway. So
Oh,
you
fuck.
sort
Okay.
of you
Great.
might be missing the boat even.
Yeah, great. Wait. So, okay, I didn't understand that part of it. So you're saying that the Republicans they can wait them out effectively and be like, well, the damage will be done. So now it is the Democrats' fault for prolonging any
for
other
many people,
stuff. Like, yeah, it's like, oh, the reason
for
you
many
can't
people,
get
the
food
increases
stamps
are
yeah.
for many people, the increase is already locked in, right? So as more time goes on
Jeez.
and people's plans come up for renewal over the next months and so forth, then they'll be locked into those higher premiums, and then that's just going to be, the insurance companies will have built that into their forecasting models and their pricing, and that's what the pricing is, right? So even if these subsidies do come back, it doesn't mean things are just going to magically go back down now. Like the longer they wait, the worse it gets.
Such a stupid system. Like,
It's not good. It's not a good healthcare system. You know what, Tom? I'm starting to think Michael Moore was right. Not a good healthcare system they got over there.
Yeah, jeez. Fantastic
Despite the
gun
fact that
system.
if you listen to Trump,
if you love guns, great system. If you love school shootings, even better.
if you listen to Trump, I mean, he's out there saying that they're decreasing the costs on all these things, which is not exactly what data is showing, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah,
so,
but like numbers, people can see the numbers.
Yeah.
It's like it's very transparent.
But he said it.
How much? Yeah, but on the other hand, numbers. So you can easily see whether your health insurance is. Yeah, exactly. There's only so much kind of like reality tunnel, kind of like bombast that the president can realistically deploy in order to like chaos magic himself into the reality that he wants. Like at a certain point, like, the numbers show up in people's lives and they realize it. And I think a year into this administration, people are starting to, they didn't like the economy. So last time around, they blamed Democrats. It's been a year. They still don't like the economy, and now they're starting to blame Republicans. That's what it seems like, because they're in charge and they own everything. They have all the levels of government. They have all the power. If they wanted to change things, they could. If they wanted to change the rules of the filibuster to allow them to pass, legislation with only 51 votes in the Senate, they could do that. There's nothing stopping them from doing that, right? Getting rid of the filibuster, which says you need 60 senators as opposed to 50 in order to pass legislation. They just choose not to, right? So they could stop this all tomorrow if they wanted to and just pass the bill they want to pass.
But they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun.
Speaking of older, vulnerable people, in Australia, there is something now for American listeners. There's something they may not be familiar with. It's called the aged pension. And when you get to a certain age, you get to retire and stop working, and the government will pay you money in order to live until you die.
not very much.
There's not very well, not a lot.
Yeah,
but
let's not get ahead of
like
ourselves.
The family home.
It's not perfect. It's like, it's better. It's still not enough.
It won't cover your rent.
There are things like the asset test, like the family home is excluded. So you could have a $6 million home in Toorak, and if you have no other assets, you can still draw the age pension, right? So there are some sort of loopholes and things like that as to how people sort of stretch that money to go a bit further. But like for the most part, you expect to retire at 67. You'll get, depending on your asset test, you get some sort of government support, through to old age, and that increases the fewer assets that you have, right? There's been a lot of information circulating on social media and even from like news sites and things like that have talked about rumors that the federal government is looking at increasing the pension age. And basically I just wanted to come online here and say that that's not true. The government is not looking at that. There's no proposal, there's no bill, there's no law. This is not happening. As far as we can tell, this is just something that old people have gotten really excited about on social media, and it's like creating a lot of vitriol towards the Labor Party, which in this one instance they don't deserve. So
yeah, hate where hate deserves.
Yeah, it's good. I have no problem with having problems with the policies that the Labor Party puts forward as my preferred party of the two major parties. But you should be, if you're going to be upset about something, you should be upset about something that's real.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's so in this instance, so it's funny because Yahoo are the article that we're looking at for this. And they are often the ones that are behind clickbaity headlines. This particular article they're talking about here, which came from a fake news website, specifically had a headline basically saying, the government has confirmed that the pension age will rise. But then if you go into the article, it's like, oh, there's chit-chat about it, and this has happened in the UK, and this is an example that's happened.
It's exactly the sort of clickbait that Yahoo exploits, is your point. Yeah,
exactly. I was like, this is a bit rich. But what's interesting to my mind is that you've got a Labor government in. There are conservative, I guess, sources and media outlets and communication,
just say Sky News.
Sky News, yeah.
And the Herald Sun, Sky and News. The Australian,
Herald Sun.
And the
there are outlets. That's probably what I'm looking for. That deliberately will capitalise on fear mongering for things like the age pension. And this is not the first time this discussion's happened. Every time someone talks about raising the age pension, everyone freaks out. But that being said, it's probably there's been some various studies by universities and other institutions where, because of the aging population and the declining tax revenue base that the country has, it is highly likely that for our generation and for generations after us, that the pension age will rise by the time we get to that point, because it's just a matter of like math, basically.
Maths.
Like we need
the numbers, Mason.
So it's not going to happen in the next couple of years, but
I'm fully not expecting the age pension to be around by the time we get there. I mean, we as a generation do have the benefit of having worked with mandatory superannuation contributions that come out of our wages for our entire working lives. So I expect by the time we get to our 60s, 70s, whatever the retirement is age is by then, 80s, late 80s, if Joe Biden is to be believed, then, I don't expect an age pension to be around. The expectation is going to be that you worked and you put money aside, and even if it's not quite enough money, well, that's on you, bub. Like, you got to figure it out. I think the privatization of that sort of social welfare system has well and truly occurred already. So
the fact is that there is a heap of Gen X boomers and that are sort of been caught in between the two systems, I guess. So it definitely needs to stay around for a time longer. I remember my great grandmother. She lived off the age pension because she'd had nothing. She rented her home. She had no assets. And she lived for that pension day. That was how she lived. And then she'd go up to the pokies and have a little flutter at the RSL. But
besides the point, but you think about single mothers, or people who've had a death in the family and haven't worked, and then they got to start working in their 50s or 60s, and there's a lot of people that are going to fall through the gaps in a completely privatized system like that. I just think that the government, given the neoliberal slant of governments over the last 20 years, I can't imagine. This is not based on evidence. It's just vibes. I fully expect there will not be an age pension by the time that we get to retirement. I think just governments can't afford it. It's real expensive. One of the major funding line items in the budget is healthcare, defense, and welfare. Those are the big ticket items, right? So if people are living off the public purse and living longer because of improved health standards and whatever, and need more medical care for longer. And like you could just see the costs ballooning out and out and out as we live longer and contribute into the system less. Right.
I can't see the socialist weasels that are the Labor Party though. Going for a policy like that.
Adam said that in jest because the Labor Party is decidedly centrist.
Yeah. Well,
I think that would be.
Sounds like we need $1 trillion coin. And I think
No,
that would solve
Tom.
all our problems. Actually, on the $1 trillion coin, this wasn't in the rundown, but when I said $1 trillion coin would save us all, I didn't mean giving it to Elon Musk would be the solution. Did you see that this week? That
No, what's this?
Tesla shareholders essentially said, "Yep, we vote in favor
approve
of
the
a
biggest
compensation package that will give him
for a CEO.
$1 trillion over 10 years if he hits certain targets." Fucking what? That's such an absurd amount of money. I don't know. I could ramble for ages about this, but just like fucking, there is nothing. There is nothing any CEO
Elon
could
Musk
do. Even the most perfect CEO ever. There is nothing you could do that warrants giving someone $1 trillion. It's
Tesla shareholders
absurd.
have historically been very generous to Elon Musk because, and if you think about it, I mean, the stock has like quintupled and doubled and quintupled again over the last 15 20 years. So there's a lot of people that have made a lot of fucking money off the back of Elon Musk being an exceptional salesman, if not an entirely moral, lovely person. And his ability to sell the idea of Tesla has gotten him very far. And, all this talk about, we're going to have fucking human autonomous robots and we're going to have self-driving cars that can act as taxis and earn you passive income while you're at work. And like he sells all of these things, and often it's, I'd say most of the time it's complete fucking vaporware, but it makes number go up. And when that happens, lots of people get rich. So they're likely to give him whatever the fuck he asks for if number keeps going up, right?
It's frankly insane. It's like $1 trillion.
He has a higher GDP than some small micronations.
Yeah.
Then many Micronesian. Than many countries.
And just it takes the there's been a lot of talk I've seen just anecdotally just in a lot of like the the Insta reels and stuff of people doing a breakdown of like, how much the difference between $1 million and $1 billion is, and having fun little analogies just to be like, you can't spend that much money. The breakdowns for like between $1 billion and $1 trillion is even more insane. Like I think.
So just for context, if you'd bought a share of Tesla in 2013, it would have been $2.44, and that share is now worth $429, right? So
Yes,
and it's
that's a big
close to all-time highs. So
that's a big difference.
people have a couple of hundred times their money off the back of Tesla and hanging on to Tesla shares. So it's hardly surprising that they're willing to give him whatever the fuck he wants as long as the magic, but like it really does feel like a bit of a Ponzi scheme at this. Like Bernie Madoff's like, I'm going to fucking do incredible things with your money. You're not going to believe the returns that I'm getting. Then all of a sudden one day the house of cards starts coming down because I certainly wouldn't buy a Tesla. I think there's a lot of people now in Europe and the progressive side of politics in America and elsewhere in the world that wouldn't fucking touch a Tesla with a 10-foot pole. And if you look at the valuation of Tesla, its price to earnings ratio is valued not just like a software company, but like the software company that people is the most they think is the most likely to succeed in all of the world. You look at its value, how many cars it turns out compared to like Ford, and it's like a similar amount of cars to Ford, but it's valued at like 100x of Ford. Like the price to earnings ratio for Tesla stock at the moment is 261 to 1. So you would need 261 years of revenue at the current trajectory to justify the price of the stock today. So a high price to earnings ratio, a high price to earnings ratio is like 30 to 50, where it's like people think this stock's really going to pop. This is 261. So it's like the amount of hype that is pumping in the bubble of this stock is pretty substantial, right? And it's like barely turned a profit as a company. Like it's not a good money maker neither is Amazon, but like, you understand what I mean? Like, it is crazy how the economics of the valuations of these tech
Yeah.
companies works.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
and-
up nearly 27,000%
Yeah.
over its lifetime, the stock.
And again,
right?
there are
So-
like, as we said before, the richest country in the world is about to have a famine. Like, fucking
Yeah.
none of this
Yeah.
makes any
Explain
sense.
that to me. He could personally feed everyone in the United States
He could end world hunger.
personally out of his pocket
Yeah.
for several years and
And never notice.
wouldn't even dent his net wealth.
Yeah. I thought that was one of the $1 trillion like comparisons I saw, which was like for you to spend $1 trillion in a year, you'd have to spend like $19 billion a week. Which is mental, right? Like,
Sounds like a challenge.
yeah. Oh yeah, challenge accepted.
We're going to Ibiza.
Yeah.
They're
George,
going to Mars.
We're buying Ibiza and then can just live there. Like, you don't need to spend it on trips to
This is
Ibiza.
true.
You can just buy Ibiza. Anyway.
We're going to Ibiza.
Yeah. Fucking insane. What are those people thinking?
Speaking of neo-Nazis, as we just were about Elon Musk,
yeah.
the New South Wales police have allowed neo-Nazis to protest out the front of the New South Wales Parliament. It seems at odds with some of the kind of reactionary tactics they've used against
Other
pro-Palestine
protests
supporters,
recently?
for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that we could name. But for some reason, a neo-Nazi rally outside the steps of New South Wales Parliament over the weekend was deemed authorised as police.
They weren't breaking any laws, George.
No, they were just being Nazis.
Yeah, they're just being Nazis,
it's
which is
apparent-
crazily not illegal.
So yeah, there's lots of white dudes in speed dealer sunglasses standing out front of all dressed in black, standing out front of the Parliament, just looking menacing, standing in rows, just ready to turn Australia into fucking Gilead. I guess that's the plan.
Yeah.
And in front of a sign that says "Abolish the Jewish Lobby." White Australia.
Yes. So it's kicked off a bit of a what this situation, because it sucks to say, but it seems like Nazis marching in Australia isn't a crazy outlandish thought. It's happened several times in the past couple months. So like, no, this isn't too outlandish an idea. But what this has kicked off a bit is about that that authorization process that was mentioned before. So it seems that for a protest to go ahead, like in the quote unquote the right way, is to like notify police that you're going to be doing it. So you submit what is what is called a Form 1, where you say essentially like who you are, that you're going to protest, where you're going to do it, and that if it's been like received at least 7 days in advance and a court hasn't blocked it or anything like that, it is then authorized, quote unquote, like they're allowed to gather, and that affords you some legal protections, like as it's an authorized protest event, if you block traffic or block pedestrian access to somewhere, you can't just be arrested for that straight up.
It could be a hazard.
All that
whatever.
sort of stuff, unlike if you just showed up somewhere and blocked traffic. But they did get the Form 1 from a group called White Australia. 7 days out should have maybe given you a bit of an indication as to what was maybe being planned. Like, I thought maybe, what were they called? Were they called like, because some of these groups are called like the National Socialist Network or the Workers United Front or something or other. Like they've got some other name.
People's
if you're
People's
not paying,
Popular Party of
if you're not
PP.
if you're not switched on or like aware of these groups already, you might be like, oh, okay, the Workers United Front are planning something in a week. Like, all right, authorize that. And then they hold up, abolish the Jewish lobby. And you go, oh, fuck, I fucked up. But
yeah, just imagining the bureaucrat, the mid-level bureaucrat that has to approve these things, just gets a piece of paper on his desk and he's like, what is this? White Australia. Okay, well, I guess it's technically allowed. They did give me 7 days. Boy, I can't wait till I retire and get that age pension. That is, I am so out of here.
Yeah.
But something which is of interest to me is that Section 93ZAA of the Crimes Act, which took effect in August in New South Wales, makes it an offence to publicly incite hatred towards another person or group on the grounds of race. And to say abolish the Jewish lobby, I would argue, as stated by a bunch of neo-Nazis, probably meets that definition. So if that's the context, I don't know how this protest was then allowed to go ahead. If it's from the white Australia group, it just seems obviously on its face, racist, right?
The police commissioner is blaming the system. So basically they're saying, well,
you are the system.
The local area command that's responsible for where they were protesting didn't that they were the ones to make the assessment and to not do anything about it. But they didn't communicate with the commissioner or the government on the matter. And Chris Minns,
how are building approvals taking 18 building approvals take 18 months, but approval for a neo-Nazi rally, they're just like, wave it on through, boys. Right this way, we've got a table waiting.
You don't actually have to approve it. It's like the authorization happens automatically if the police just do nothing.
Yeah.
So what is the purpose? If no one reviews it, what is the purpose of the authorization then?
So that's what I'm saying. Like
Precisely.
they get authorized. They get authorized
automatically.
If nothing happens. So you could just be sitting in someone's filing tray and no one does anything with it.
Yeah.
Could be sitting in an email box somewhere. And if no one does anything with it, then it's authorized.
Yeah, but you, the Nazis, have done your due diligence. So carry on, fellas. It's crazy.
It's so funny that the kind of level of action that comes to bear against pro-Palestinian protesters, the government takes them to court, and there's a whole fucking court battle as to whether they're allowed to do the protest or not, and there's injunctions, and there's like a whole situation. Neo-Nazis, they're just like, yeah, right to this way, sir. We have a table waiting in the Vichy government of New South Wales.
Yeah. Neo-Nazis, it's that email's in the inbox. Oh, that's a Monday problem, and then it just happens to lapse, and then. Yeah, here we go.
This kind of anti-Semitism, fine. The kind of quote-unquote anti-Semitism present in a pro-Palestinian rally, not fine. Got it.
Yeah, got it. The Premier, Chris Minns, is obviously miffed. He's pretty miffed about this.
He's not happy.
He's not happy. Which, I mean, you know what? Rightly so. He's, said all the things of like this kind of hatred and racism doesn't belong in Sydney streets, all that sort of stuff.
No, it belongs in Cronulla.
That's a niche reference. So
Cronulla riots, look it up.
Look it up. And
they're talking about now. Sorry, Tom.
I was just gonna say, get mad at Alan Jones. Look up the Cronulla riots, and you'll get extra mad at Alan Jones.
That's so good. Is he still alive, Alan Jones?
He's still alive.
What happened?
Still kicking around. Unlike Dick Cheney, God needed a Machiavellian shit stirrer.
Dick Cheney.
A bunch of allegations around Alan Jones, and I haven't heard anything for a lot of
allegations.
There were.
Some dropped, I think, still before the courts, but he's not broadcasting anymore. He's effectively dead to us, which is great.
He always was.
They are talking now about police need more powers to
that's the solution, Adam. That's the solution. More police powers. Whatever the problem is, the answer to the question, no matter what the question is more police powers. So it's good that we got that out of the way.
Surely this section 9.3.
What's the time, police commissioner? More police powers, thanks.
This publicly, if you incite hatred towards another group, surely that would have been enough for the police to be like...
for the anti-Jewish group? Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah, it should be. I don't know if any arrests were made at the demonstration, because you think, okay, it wasn't... All right, it was authorized automatically or whatever. Fuck, that got through. But given, you're right, that section of the Crimes Act, when a bunch of black-clad neo-Nazis hold up and abolish the Jewish lobby sign, you'd be like, well, I think that's inciting hatred against another group. We can probably arrest these people now. But no.
And so this is one of the things that these neo-Nazi groups are good at. So there was a big deep dive. The ABC's done a few of these, but one of the things that they were talking about when they were communicating with some of the US-based groups was the need to do things very much by the book to make sure that they aren't, tripping legal wires everywhere and shooting themselves in the foot. That they need to do things very much by the book to be able to get in and appear legitimate. Right?
Like the protests in Charlotte, the tiki torches, they're all in there in their chino pants and their button-up shirts, and they're, look at us, we're very respectable, we're moving in orderly lines, we're not causing disruption. It's the crazy leftists that are the violent ones. But, just because you're organized doesn't mean you're not fucking racists.
Yeah, doesn't mean you're not fucking
If anything,
Nazis.
that should scare people more, is that the Nazis are really fucking organized and disciplined. That should put the fear of God into you even more.
Indeed. Speaking of the fear of God, Sussan Ley is probably a little bit fearful at the moment, although she's publicly not saying that she is, because there has been speculation this week on her future of the leadership of the Liberal Party. So various sources within the Canberra journalism bubble have reported there's been canvassing happening in various Liberal Party circles. Now
Andrew Hastie just sitting there with his hands in a little pyramid saying, yes,
the
good,
finger pyramid of evil
good. Let the
contemplation.
hate flow through you.
So this is all coalescing around, I guess, the national decision to dump net zero, which happened last week. So last week we said that they were meeting and they were likely to dump it. They did, in fact, dump it as a target.
Yep.
And they have now wedged the Liberal Party because obviously
what is the point of a coalition
and
if
the
they have
Liberals,
if they have different policy agendas? Like, what is a coalition then? If that's the
apparently,
case.
Apparently, David Littleproud's like, well, we can still come to an agreement here. It's like, well, if you guys are going to take this position, obviously the Liberals now have to like move to some extent.
Either take that position,
we can
or
negotiate.
break up the coalition. Yeah.
Yeah, we can negotiate. You adopt our position, and that's the end of the negotiation.
Yeah, we get everything we want, and we remain a team. That's fair, isn't it? It's amazing. This is all happening much sooner than I expected it would.
Well,
the disintegration of the Liberal Party.
Yeah,
I feel like Sussan Ley, she's only been in since May. Like, you need to give her a bit of time before a leadership spill, before you knife her. Like, she hasn't even got no pension yet. Like, give her a chance to fuck up before you knife her. Like, I mean, the worst critique you could have of Sussan Ley is that she's milquetoast, which is also a critique you could levy at the Prime Minister, but it doesn't seem to have hurt him none. So, I think,
so what's happening this week?
Give her a chance to fuck up.
Well, this is the thing. So this week, the Liberals are meeting to formalise their climate policy. So they're going to meet. Mm-hmm. All of the Liberal heavyweights will be in Canberra, and so there is speculation that maybe, if the canvassing was successful, that there would be some sort of spill. But both Andrew Hastie, Angus Taylor, other members of the Liberal Party have said publicly that they would not do anything.
But a bit of what kicked off,
short term.
What kicked off stuff this week though was comments by Liberal Senator Sarah Henderson, who said that she could no longer pretend that everything is okay and say it's not okay because they've had a policy vacuum. And saying that she, quote, does believe she, Sussan Ley, is losing support because of what's happened since she became leader. And we're all working very hard to get our party back on track. So that's kicked off. Whoa. There are people in the party that think Sussan Ley's not okay. Is it spill time? Is it hashtag on? Spill. And our favourite national pastime
it's a little
is
bit
back
of,
in the forefront.
A little bit of blood in the water for the journos, and everyone knows what to do after that, right?
Yeah. So... Yeah, Sussan Ley, of
and
course.
I don't think anything will happen. I think what's going to happen is they're going to go into this policy meeting. Nothing. I don't think, because it's not just a 50-50. You have to have like a 2/3 majority, and there's other rules now around the spill than there was, say. It's much harder to spill leadership now than it was, like that.
I don't think the objective is to actually spill the leadership at this stage. I think the entire purpose of all this backgrounding is to weaken her position and seed the ground for next time when they actually are able to topple her.
Weaken her position, and then I think also then set up for the fact that they can drop the net zero target, I think, is the other thing as well. So the Conservatives get what they want, and then the Liberals have a policy platform, and if Sussan Ley wants to, keep her job, then she needs to go along with it.
Yeah.
I think is probably what's going to happen.
I'm just amazed this is
The
happening
Conservatives-
now. I expected it, give her at least a year, maybe a bit,
Yeah.
until it's like that you can have enough ammo to knife her and then put someone else in and have them around long enough so it doesn't feel like a last minute ditch effort before an election. But
that's the thing.
the rumblings
you can't do it
of,
3 months out from an election,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So there is
It
an
looks
optimal
desperate.
timing for knifing. The killing season generally is a good year or so before the next election cycle, right?
it's
So
just
it is
why-
early this time around.
Yeah, it just feels weird to be starting the rumblings of like, oh, maybe we're not happy with the leadership and maybe it should change. I'm like, wow, you guys don't want to look like flip-floppers this early. You got so bollocked 6 months ago. Like, Jesus.
Yeah, it really does feel like the party's just sort of imploding in on itself. You've got
I just want to know
the
what
challenge.
happened to this review. This review that they were going to do. Like, we're going to have a really thorough look at, like, okay, well, if there's a review out there, where is it? And have you, like, if it's got recommendations, are you adhering to any of them? Or are you just, when you say you've been doing a review, are you just been sitting there jerking yourselves off for the last, like, 12 months? Like, what have you been doing?
The recommendation is just Edvard Munch's The Scream. Just, just like, we're fucked. The Liberal Party, as it's currently constituted in Australia, which for our American listeners is the Conservative Party. We know it's confusing. Don't at us. The Liberal Party is kind of collapsing on itself because they're facing challenges from the left in Labor and the Teals, especially in the inner city, blue ribbon seats is how they're referred to. They're facing challenges on their right flank from One Nation and the constellation of batshit conservative neo-Nazi fuckheads. Pauline Hanson's One Nation's Pauline Hanson. And, they're kind of getting squeezed in the middle here. And, I'm sure the recommendations of that report, if it exists, would say something like you got to move back to the center, you got to compassionate conservatism, early 2000s kind of like George Bush style, centrist conservative thing is the way to go to appeal to more people. But I don't think that's their natural inclination. I think the members of parliament in the Liberal Party are actually pretty conservative themselves. And so their natural inclination is to probably ignore that and just go far right. And they're still, but again, as you say, Tom, why would you get diet racist when you can get full strength over at One Nation?
Yeah.
So it doesn't really leave the Liberal Party in a very strong position going forward, especially considering how much Labor has tacked to the centre in the last 2 election cycles. It doesn't give them a lot of ground to move. And so I think they're just inherently at a structural disadvantage. I mean, given how many seats they lost in the last election, I don't see them winning a term of government, in the next election cycle, certainly. It just seems like very mathematically difficult for them to pick up the amount of seats that they would need in order to win government. So you're talking about at least a term, maybe 2 terms or more out in the wilderness before they actually achieve power. And I think in that time, the hyper-conservative rumblings from Barnaby Joyce and others are probably going to eat the party alive in the meantime. I don't know what it's going to look like in 3, 6, 9 years. It's kind of terrifying to think about, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, the fact that One Nation is becoming, or seemingly likely to become, a bigger player is terrifying.
They're polling higher than the Greens at the moment nationally. They're at 15%. The Greens have dropped to like 9 or something. So
that's extremely
it's a fringe. It's a fringe party, but we could be facing a situation like they are over in the UK, where Nigel Farage and his party are actually polling higher than the Conservatives, than the Tories, and that the hyper right, far right Conservative ends up becoming the opposition by default because the Conservatives in the middle are just kind of languishing.
Yeah.
I don't love what it says about Australia, but hopefully, fingers crossed, our preferential voting system and mandatory voting will save us. Fingers crossed.
Well, speaking of the UK, one of their beloved royals, after voluntarily / being pushed to relinquish some titles, has now had the remaining ones stripped from him. We're of course talking about Prince Andrew, or as he is no longer known, as Prince Andrew. He is now known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, and is no longer to be using royal titles, which is a...
or as I like to say, the bullshit artist formerly known as Prince Andrew.
Yeah. So I guess huge deal, but also like that ain't gonna fix it. Like similar to when he voluntarily would no longer be called the Duke of Windsor and all that sort of stuff. We're like, cool, that doesn't get all the heat off your back for what has been alleged against you. Like it's not like he's learned his lesson. Yep, he lost.
Look at those hangdog eyes. He's learned his lesson. Come on, you can come to Christmas.
Yeah.
Come on, look at him. He's so sorry.
Yeah,
look at him.
He's no longer a prince, so I guess cool. No harm, no foul.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Yeah, no, and
he has to move out of his
30-room mansion.
30-room mansion. Oh, poor baby. Now he has to go to a different mansion elsewhere. Oh, no.
Oh, damn. Oh, yeah.
Man, that sure is accountability.
Yeah. So, nah. And further from this, the US Congressional panel that is looking into Jeffrey Epstein and any of his alleged associates have requested Andrew to come talk to them. Be like, please tell us what you know. And,
he has been summoned.
Yeah.
If you say his name 3 times into a mirror, he shall appear. I guess we
with
will finally
Pizza
learn.
Express box.
Well, yes, yeah. I was going to say we will finally learn once and for all whether it is true or not that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor cannot sweat when he's in front of the US Congressional panel.
Well, I think he said he couldn't sweat at the time.
He can now, though. So he could prior.
He can now sweat.
He could prior. He couldn't during, but he can now. It's bulletproof.
It's convenient. Yeah, it's bulletproof. The logic is unassailable, Tom.
Yeah.
She turned me into a newt. I got better.
Yeah, so he's not gonna go. I don't think these.
Why would you? Unless you're
summons,
legally compelled to go.
Yeah, I don't think they can compel him to go. It's a completely different jurisdiction, and while he's no longer Prince Andrew, he's still connected closely enough with the royal family that surely that Britain wouldn't respect a subpoena or a warrant or something.
Yeah, he's still the king's brother.
Yeah,
so,
they're not going to extradite him.
I'm just imagining the lawyer played by Jason Statham when they get the paper. He's just like, do you think I should go to... And don't you fucking dare. Don't even think about it, mate. Yeah. You're a muppet. You're not going to the States. Forget about it, mate.
So... I don't know. They just keep stripping titles from him, and it's that's not the issue. I don't think the issue was that he was still a prince after all this.
This is kind of what the Crown does, though, is it sort of looks for ways to sort of
distance the Crown
obfuscate,
from
the Crown from
from all the people that surround the Crown.
Yeah.
As in the Crown, they've repetitively. They've done this a lot over the last 100 years.
Yeah.
So the former royal has until November 20 to respond. So I await his decision with bated breath.
How do you write in a letter with fancy letterhead and the sign off? Even though we can't say His Royal Highness or whatever anymore, but how do you write in a letter? Back to Congress. How would you write that down?
Jog on. Yeah. And for legal reasons, we should stipulate that he denies any wrongdoing.
Yeah.
There we go.
I said
allegedly.
These were all allegations.
Sprinkled some allegedly on it.
Yeah,
we're fine.
These are all allegations.
Yep.
Yeah. Allegations for
Possibly
which
true.
They're stripping.
Possibly true allegations.
Yeah, they stripped him of the title prince. The brother of the king, the son of the former queen. They stripped that title from him over allegations.
At the behest of the king. That's just the sort of stuff the king does. He's mercurial. He's like Louis XVI. He just does stuff. No one knows why. He's so mysterious. What's up, Charles? You're so crazy.
Speaking of mysterious, I guess we have and always will be unnatural selection. Oh, I can never do the ending part. This is always death.
Make sure you visit us at our
that's the
salubrious
one.
home on the web, unnaturalshow.com. Make sure you follow us on all the bullshit social medias at our handle at Unnatural Show. That's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and motherflipping TikTok. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok at George Tsipos.
You can follow me on Threads at tom.heath.
And you can follow me down to Movember because I'm doing Movember again, and you can see that
That's what's going on there.
Yeah, I thought
a little porn star moustache developing.
No, it's not quite at porn star level. It's still at, Prince Andrew level.
I think it's just very, it's the resolution of the camera. It's much thicker than it's.
Is that what it is?
It's looking.
The camera
luscious.
adds 10 hairs. Is that the argument you're making?
Yeah.
The camera removes 10 hairs. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, is that what it is? Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting look for you. I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening, guys. Love your faces. We'll see you next week. Nailed it. Flawless.
Yeah. I mean, you say it's porn star mustache now, but I think come back to me when it's like Count Orlok, when it's like Nosferatu. Just give me that stash. That'll look delicious.
Yeah, like a handlebar. Can you link it up to your mutton chops? Get a real biker thing going.
Haven't got enough on the side.
Yeah.
So
or like a 17.
It would just be like
barber.
It would just be a beard
Yes.
here with a gap and then a moustache.
Perfect. I love it. No notes.